Day 9, which means chapter 9 in Proverbs. Solomon today continues the discussion of Lady Wisdom and Madam Whore. So there are a couple interesting things about these two characters that he's developing. He has personified basically your fork in the road in life. It doesn't matter really what age you are. You definitely have to choose that at 18, probably even 16 sometimes, kind of depending on what you're doing. But you will continue to do this throughout life. You will be continually hit with choices on how to live your life. So Lady Wisdom gives a dinner party. Lady Wisdom has built and furnished her home. It's supported by 7 hewn timbers. The banquet meal is ready to be served. Lamb roasted, wine poured out, table set with silver and flowers. Having dismissed her serving maids, Lady Wisdom goes to town, stands in a prominent place, and invites everyone within sound of her voice. Are you confused about life? Don't know what's going on? Come with me. Oh, come have dinner with me. I've prepared a wonderful spread. Fresh baked bread, roast lamb, carefully selected wines. Leave your impoverished confusion and live. Walk up the street to a life with meaning. If you reason with a cynic, an arrogant cynic, you'll get slapped in the face. Confront bad behavior and get a kick in the shins. So don't waste your time on a scoffer. All you'll get for your pains is abuse. But if you correct those who care about life, that's different. They'll love you for it. Save your breath for the wise. They'll be wiser for it. Tell good people what you know. They'll profit from it. Skilled living gets its start in the fear of God. Insight into life from knowing a holy God. It's through me, Lady Wisdom, that your life deepens and the years of your life ripen. Live wisely and wisdom will permeate your life. Mock life and life will mock you. Then there's this other woman, Madam Whore. Brazen, empty-headed, frivolous. She sits on the front porch of her house on Main Street, and as people walk by, minding their own business, calls out, "Are you confused about life? Don't know what's going on? Steal off with me. I'll show you a good time. No one will ever know. I'll give you the time of your life." But they don't know about all the skeletons in her closet, that all her guests end up in hell. What I find really interesting is the setup that Solomon has. He has 2 personified decisions in life, right? So you are sort of at a crossroads, and you come to this crossroads in life a lot, just on what are you going to decide to do. You can decide to go the wise route, to live a wise life. That doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes, but really striving towards wisdom. Or you can go with Madam Whore, which I think personifies basically a person who is unwilling to sacrifice immediate pleasure for a better future. This is an idea that Dr. Jordan Peterson expounds a lot on, and if you want to listen to his take, he is a clinical psychologist, so he knows a bit more than me. You can check out his channel. But this personification of Madam Whore, it's kind of like, this is not just about sex. It's not just about being a whore about sexual promiscuity. I think Madam Whore is like a person who sells out, who just sells out to pleasure. It says that she calls out to people who are minding their own business. So you are constantly bombarded by temptation to take the moment's pleasure, right? And to not sacrifice that for a better future. And this can be so simple as to the temptation to go out every Friday and Saturday night, spend all your money, drink too much, wake up the next day. That day's, a loss because of your hangover and just you don't ever want to get out of bed. To deciding to sacrifice that, possibly not going out every night, and instead using that as time to study, as time to work, as time to spend with your family, read books, just enjoy, go on a date night. You don't, that immediate pleasure can feel good in the moment, but it can lead, and oftentimes leads to a life in hell, a life even on earth that is just hellish. So you can look to drugs. You start a little dabbling a little here, a little there, and we all know this, but you never know if you're going to be that person who is severely addicted, and a life addicted to drugs is a hellish life. We can even look to sexual promiscuity, that immediate pleasure of being with that person. You are most likely sacrificing really getting to know that person intellectually, because you go immediately into physical and you are skipping a lot of steps that humans need, and you almost if you end up being with that person, you have to backstep. And again, like my former life and my life right now is not perfect, has never been perfect. I have lived a lot in the present pleasure, not sacrificing it to look towards a better future. So I don't judge you at all, but I do understand and have experienced that sort of hell, whether it's the next morning when you think, what did I just do? I shouldn't have done that. Or that hell of failing your exam because you chose present pleasure over I should study. I mean, all these little things, these can be, we're not always talking about the end of your life, but, between heaven and hell. Solomon's really talking about your life right now on earth, and a life that at the fork in the road decides to choose wisdom is going to have a better life. It says, live wisely and wisdom will permeate your life. It's through me, Lady Wisdom, that your life deepens and the years of your life ripen. And it's interesting to me that this personification of wisdom is not boring. In fact, there's something about the way that he describes her that she seems beautiful and inviting and somebody that you want to be with. She takes care to set out a banquet. So choosing wisdom, choosing wisely can be a life full of a full banquet. He talks about roasted lamb and fresh baked bread and carefully selected wines. That is a rich dinner, and you have to put yourself back into Solomon's time. We're talking ancient times. People didn't eat like that all the time. You had to be a rich person to eat this roasted lamb and this fresh baked bread and this carefully selected wines. The average person ate whatever was around, whatever they had. It wasn't this succulent meal that just was so inviting and warm to come into. And yet Solomon personifies wisdom as that rich person inviting you in and coming in and fellowshipping with them. And so it's searching for wisdom. It's choosing the wise road can be a wonderful experience. That journey can be inviting and warm and wonderful. And I think sometimes we think that choosing that wise route is the boring way or is not quite living to the fullest. We think going out is going to be living to the fullest. But it's not living to the full life extent. And I think a lot about, the rock stars from the 80s, the 70s, the 80s that have just died so young in the last few years. It's young to die at 60 and 65 when people are living to 90, 95, 100 years old. But if you choose a life of sex, drugs, alcohol, and just living for this moment's pleasure, the chances of you living a full life at the end are really slim just because your physical body can't handle it. I love how Solomon does give a little bit of advice on not wasting your time with certain people. And this is something that I think is really helpful in this day and age of social media. This is something that I've been working on for a long time. I think I'm better at it, but it says, if you reason with an arrogant cynic, you'll get slapped in the face. I think that's because an arrogant cynic is not willing to reason with you. They'd rather slap you in the face. And you can see this on Twitter, on Facebook, it says just don't even bother. Don't waste your time on a scoffer. It says if somebody's going out and just scoffing at everything you say, just don't even waste your time. It is difficult not to waste your time because emotionally you want them to stop scoffing at you. Or at your ideas, or at somebody that you admire. But they're not listening to you, and it's a waste of time to try that. It says, but if you correct those who care about life, so somebody who cares about their life, who is actually looking for wisdom, that's different. They'll love you for it. And so this is sort of a wise word of choosing the people that you interact with, especially on a daily basis. So you need to choose people who are willing to listen to you, who are willing to listen to your wisdom, and you as well, if you are going to be a wise person with whom people want to interact with whom wise people want to interact with, you have to listen as well, and you have to care about life, and you'll want to profit from what they have to say, right? And so he again reiterates that skilled living gets its start in the fear of God. And remember that the fear of God is not cowering in a corner in fear of God. It is being reminded that the God of the universe, who's bigger than the space, we have Earth and our planet system and our galaxy, and he's bigger than all that. He created all that. It's that standing in awe of the fact that he sees you and he has a plan for you, and your fear of him then comes from that place of awe and saying, you know what, if you care enough to have a plan for me, I'm going to care enough about my life to search out that plan and to choose wisely, make wise decisions, stand with wise people, and learn from them. So our discussion there went a little bit from the bottom up, but that's all right. If you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe in order to be notified of all the other videos to come. We are going to continue our study of Proverbs, and I will see you next time.